I'm ready. Okay. I'm going to talk about 10 things to make your Strata office more efficient. The first 5 will be specific to StrataMax. So if you're not a StrataMax user right now, just hold on. The last 5 points will make up for it, okay? But we're going to go through some real quick tips for getting efficiencies with StrataMax. And at the end, I'm just going to talk about 5 really good general office productivity and efficiency things for you. Okay, so I'm going to get stuck straight into it. It's fairly fast-paced, so you've actually each got handouts. If you don't have a handout, ask Jeanette later. She'll get you one. And all of the information's in there, so don't worry if you miss a point or if I'm going a little bit quick. There's just a lot of information to get through in 20 minutes. So I'm going to dive straight in right now. The first tip number 1 is about DocMax. So DocMax is our document management system. Most of our clients use it to one extent or another. Many might just use it to get up to get the meeting minutes up to the portal or various documents. Some of you have gone completely e-filing and have gotten rid of all of your old archives. Regardless to what extent you use it, these are just some opportunities to use it more wisely and most importantly to actually get access to the relevant documents when you're actually working in a particular area of StrataMax. So the first example is probably one of the most well-known ones that's been around for years, and that's the ability to link an invoice to a creditor commitment or an entry. So when you're doing your data entry, you can browse either through DocMax to a particular DocMax category or just the file folders. And what you're doing when you enter the invoice in this way, it links the invoice to the transaction. Now that's really, it's a really handy thing in the future when you need to find out more detail about a particular transaction. You might be at a committee meeting, for example. You could pull up a transaction list, click on the transaction and have the original invoice come to screen. So it's something that can save you a lot of time rather than, going through filing cabinets and different folders. It's right there when you need it. The second example, and these are just some quick examples of where the documents are being attached. Just things like in the building section of the software. If you have plans of subdivision and so forth, they can be linked really easily through DocMax. And by clicking on the building plan button there, you get a plan of subdivision come to your screen straight away. So these things are in DocMax. Of course you can find them there, but this is just a really quick way to get there. When you're actually getting a question about a building, you're in there, press the button, and up it comes. Another example, which is quite common as well, is when you're getting notifications of change of address and things into the office. Those can easily be scanned into DocMax and attached to the roll record. So at any point in the future, you could bring up any particular role change details at a click of a button again. And we'll talk more about this, the role and owner data and some easy ways to get that information. Insurance, there's a couple of documents and areas you can get documents attached in the insurance area. You have under the schedule, you can quickly bring up a policy if you've filed it in StrataMax as well. So you can get your insurance policies while you're working in the insurance. And that's what I'm really getting at here is you don't have to go somewhere else. You're doing work here already. Why not bring the relevant document when you need it? The other example is when you're doing your insurance claims in the insurance claims register, those documents can easily be filed in that particular area as well. So you can bring up information about the insurance claim and that raw document that you've scanned. Okay. Moving along to tip number 2. Now the next 2 tips are really simple, the sort of things you could train a staff member in 5 minutes, but they could have access to a really wide range of area of the system and actually be able to answer a lot of queries of owners just with one icon. Okay, so the owner dashboard is that little man that sits up here in the top left corner of the desktop. You click on that and you have a snapshot straight away of all the information relating to this owner. You've got their current account balance. You've got their email address, where the notices are going. You've got their StrataPay number if you needed to give them the login, their contact details. And over and above that just simple snapshot, you've got these particular things you can launch straight into just by clicking on, for example, the levy register. Click on the levy register button and up comes the levy register. If the owner's, complaining about that, that the account balance is incorrect, bring up the ledger card with one click as well, and you could actually tell them, well, your last payment was on this date. And again, this is something that anybody in the office could do. All they needed to do is click that icon and they can answer these questions and be confident that these are the right answers they're giving because it's straight out of the system live data. And when you're finished with whatever query you're dealing with, when you click the print button, you can easily either print it to your mail house or email it directly to that owner. So, for example, if I was just doing the ledger or something, I could press that button and email it to them straight away. So, you've closed off that whole loop. I spoke to you on the phone, I'm going to send that through right away. So that's another handy one. Now, the building area is a lot more comprehensive in BC Max. There's a lot more records and things that associate with buildings. So the building dashboard is more configurable. So what you can do with the building dashboard is you can configure your own categories of information and have them appear here. So there's about 300 to 400 fields you can select from the different areas of BC Max and Strata Max, and then categorize them under different things. You can see our example here. We've configured about 7 there, under levies, under inspections, under insurance. And just by clicking on those different buttons there, it brings up the relevant information that you've decided your office needs in those particular areas. This is a great tool for BCMs to back each other up, right? No one wants to ring up an office and say, I'm sorry, your BCM's not here. They'll call you back. Just get the backup BCM to answer the call. Okay, I don't actually deal with Canberra Lane, but you know what? I'll click on this information and now I'm armed to answer any potential question that the actual BCM might have been able to answer without having to say, I'll just put you on hold. I'm not sure. You come across really smooth. You get the phone call over within a few minutes and everyone's happy. You've provided a good service and your owners are elated with how quickly you could respond to them even when your body corporate manager wasn't in the office. Under the building information manager as well, you can, this is one of the areas in BC Max you can store a lot of notes. I'll talk about those shortly. And you've also got photos and maps and all sorts of things that you could put under that same dashboard. So it's a dashboard and it's extremely effective, takes very little time to set up, and it can deliver hours and hours of saving over any given week or month. So notes. Now this is a feature, if we launched this feature today rather than when we originally developed it, we'd probably have called it CRM, because what it is, it's a very elaborate system for storing any information that doesn't fit in a neat box. Our building information screen has 250 potential fields. That covers probably 90% of anything that would ever happen in your daily life as a BCM, but there's always going to be random things specific to your office, specific to your location that just don't fit. And the notes are a fantastic way to do that. The major sections of BC Max have their own notes button that keep the records in a simple place, all with the same interface. So, this example here, they've decided they want to put emergency contacts in here. So you create a category, you add the note, and it saves to the notes under that area. You've got them in work orders, you've got them under creditors, you've got them under role. As I said, most sections you'll be able to have notes and use them. And once you store those notes, you can easily go back and search through them. You can click on them, you can edit them. Anytime a note's created, it logs the user's name who added it and the time that it was added. So that's good for tracking the chronological events and who things were handled by. Another good feature is that there are some areas that are automated in the system already, such as the arrears process, where we'll actually add notes to the lot owner's account with information about when the arrears was sent, which ones were sent. So if you're handling those queries, you click on the notes section in the owner and you can have all of that information, and you didn't even have to physically go in and put it there. The system's smart enough to know what's relevant information to put in there. And again, you could search globally. It's quite a valuable feature. Now, report sets. Look, there's a lot of let's face it. There's probably hundreds of different reports you could run in our system, and for any particular office, you might use a suite of those. So for quick and easy access to your reports, I highly recommend you create report sets. So report sets are very simply a group of reports that you specify and you add into a particular name that you create, and then you can reproduce that set of reports with a click of a button at any time. And more importantly than that, anyone in your office could do that. You might be driving in your car and you've got like 5 minutes to prepare for a meeting, and you just ring up the receptionist and say, can you do report set one for a report set bank rec or whatever it is for my building. By the time they've got there, that person's got it, and the person who asked for it knows exactly what he's going to get because he was involved in defining what that report set should look like. So some typical examples would be, the end of financials, things for preparing for an AGM or a meeting, you could put in a report set. When a search agent comes in, that the 7 reports you give the search agent, why not create one for them as well? There could be You know, no one ever loses buildings, but if you ever did, you could have a lost building handover report as well. And the beauty of that as well is when you produce it, it has a nice clean, you know, contents page. You can see in this example all the different financial reports that are in this particular report set with page numbers, with a contents page, very orderly, very easy to read. All right, how am I going for time? Just almost spot on, 1 minute behind. Okay, so we're moving on from StrataMax, and we're just going to talk about general efficiency in your office and with your own personal productivity. Who's using Evernote? Anyone using Evernote? No one's using Evernote. Okay. Evernote is a note-taking and categorization tool that runs on every device you can imagine. So I've got Evernote on my watch, I've got it in my Google Glass, it's on my tablet, it's in my Android phone, it's on the laptop, and it syncs all of those devices via the cloud. So at any point, if you want your notes, you can go onto the web or you can go onto your device and see them, no matter where you put them in. Now, the reason I'm talking about it today is it can help with productivity. If you read some of the books that are out there about being more efficient and getting things done, what they tell you as a premise is you've got to get out what's in here clouding, you know, your daily work and get it into a trusted system, get it on paper. You know, memories are not perfect. So the more we can get out of our heads and into a trusted system where you can prioritize things, the more effective you can be as managers. So that's why I've got Evernote up here. It has a range of different ways of categorizing things and putting them in folders and whatever. It can suit whatever style you might have for how you want to manage your priorities and so forth. And as again, the beauty of it is it doesn't matter what you're doing. You know, you could be in the coffee shop with your phone and you press a button and it does a voice to text of your note. You can just say, oh, you know, this particular meeting, here are the points covered, bang, bang, bang. And when you go back to your desktop, you could open the either the browser or the actual application, and that note's in there. So it's important, part of any note-taking system that's good is that you don't have to wait to put a note down. And everybody hates having to transcribe from paper to digital. So this just takes it all in one. So that's Evernote. Screener. Okay, Screener is a really useful tool for any office where you want to be able to record and document process. What it is, it runs off the web browser. You don't install anything on your PCs. You go to screener.com, you click this little red button here, and straight away it starts capturing your screen and your PC. So at the end of the session, you press stop and it gives you a link and says, here's your video. So incredibly simple, but incredibly powerful. Some of the examples I've seen used with it is, you know, your standard documentation process is sometimes very cumbersome. When you have a process that's not documented and you ask a staff member to go and document it, it usually takes months before you actually get the finished product. Any person that actually knows a process can press that red button and straight away record whatever process they're doing. And you could keep that link in a Word document. You could say, this is how we enter invoices. Bang, one link. It might replace an existing, you know, step-by-step instruction, or it might just supplement it. Also recognizing that some people don't like reading step-by-step instructions. People like to see things. And rather than going through the same process 20 times in 3 years, every time you have to show it, record it and keep it forever, really. So Screener, great tool, very effective. Follow-up then. Has anyone heard of follow-up then? Okay, so follow-up then is a way to deal with the barrage of emails that every corporate manager has every day. Does anyone hate email? Yeah, a few of you? The rest of you are not being honest, let's face it. Follow-up then kind of is a useful tool on managing that inbox. And if you look at some of the things that you might read about how to manage your inbox, there's lots of literature on it, but most of them sort of say you've got 4 things you can do anytime you get an email, okay? The first thing you can do is my favorite, you can delete it, okay? It's spam or it's not relevant. I don't want to think about it, I'm just going to delete it. The second thing you can do is you can file it. Okay, yeah, I've read it quickly. I'm going to file it. If I need it in the future, I'll search through my email and it's there. The third thing that you can do is you can action it. And they really recommend, if it only takes 5 minutes to do something, do it now. If you actually file it and do something else with it, it's going to be more than 5 minutes spent on it by the time you got that activity done. The final thing you do with it, number 4, is you defer it. So this is where follow-up then comes in. So I'll give you a real-life example. I got the email for the SCA Strata Expo a couple of months ago, and I had a quick read and it said registrations closed 31st of March. So all I did was I thought, okay, that's great, I want to go to that, but you know what, I don't want to think about it. I forwarded it to 31 March at follow up then, and it takes all kinds of formats, and I hit the send button, delete it out of my mailbox. In the morning on the 31st, I got up and I got an email from follow up then with that entire SCA email in my inbox, and I can action it then. So it's really good for just getting things out of the way that you want to be reminded about later. And I'm sure there are Outlook tools and there's this and there's that. The problem with most of them is they're not always easy and there when you need them. I mean, I did that in a coffee shop, right? I don't know how many people can easily set up reminders on their phone and so forth. So follow up then, very good. Check the website out. Audible.com. Audible is an Amazon company that has gone out to all the publishers and almost forced them to create audiobooks of all of their content. The library has millions of titles, okay? And I love this for productivity because personally I find I can't read more than 3 pages before I fall asleep every night. As a result, I get through about 1 book every 2 years. Since I started listening to Audible, I have an app on my phone. You can get it on the iPhone, you can get it on Android. You install the audible.com app and you can listen to it via Bluetooth in your car, you know, when I go to the gym, when I'm doing some exercise or just going for a walk. And you'd be surprised if you take all of those useless gaps of information, like the news, for example, that probably doesn't provide that much productivity information for you, and replace it with that, you can get through dozens of books. So I mean, it's really opened my mind up to all sorts of different things, whether it's personal development, novels, things on how to improve your office, how to improve your life. There's so many good titles there, and I find the biggest resistance to it is I just don't have time to read. So that's a great one. Okay, the final one here I'm going to talk about is Google Now. Just wait. So has anyone got the Google search on their phone? The little thing with the bar with the search? Okay, so there's a lot more to it than many of you know. You get that on your iPhone, you get it on Android. It's called either Google Search or Google Now. And what it does, if you sync it up with your browser and so forth, it starts to learn predictive information about things it thinks are relevant to you. Okay, so for example, I've got things in my calendar on my phone. I've got places that I go to regularly. You know, when I started using my latest phone, after the 3rd time I got to the office, Google Now suggested to me, is this your workplace? Would you like to save it as a workplace? I didn't have to go in and type 175 Varsity Lakes. It actually saw the pattern and suggested it to me. The next day I woke up, it says, you know, light traffic to work, it's going to take you 15 minutes to get to work. This is actually a US example, but you know, if I've got a flight and the flight's running late, Google Now is actually on my home screen is telling me your flight is running late. Alternatively, if traffic's bad, it might tell me, leave now to get your flight, traffic is bad. So this is moving technology into a predictive phase. You no longer have to tell things to find things out. It's going to just know about, you know, the things that I search with. You know, if I was searching on a particular watch or whatever, and then the next day I came in and there was an article suggestion for a review on the watch that I was looking at because it saw my search patterns. It'll learn what football teams you go for and it'll put their scores there. These are some basketball scores there. So I'll just switch over now and I'll show you a live example of this. And some of the new features, so it's recently just been launched on the desktop as well now. So previously it was just your phone and tablet. Now they're rolling it out so when you log into Chrome as well, you'll also get all that information. So we'll just tap into here and you can see again, yeah, it's telling me 12 minutes to home, that sort of stuff. I'm supposed to have a meeting with you, Jeanette, sorry I'm late. Some articles. Now, the recent thing they've added is location-based reminders. So I'm just going to do a little test for you here. Remind me to give away more candy at the QT Hotel. Can we get some candy for these guys too? Sorry, some M&Ms. I don't. So look, I don't have QT Hotel in my phone. Google has looked out for a reference to QT Hotel, and it's suggested a reminder for me. It's taken the word remind me too, and it's taken the location and it's taken the section in the middle and said, give away more candy where? 7 Staghorn Avenue, Gold Coast. So yes, Siri can do some amazing things, but Siri is bound by your phone. Before I go, the 5 StrataMax things that we've just spoken about, we will be running 2 training sessions in the next month. So please, if you're not registered for our training newsletter, come and give us your business card and you'll get the invitation to do those sessions online in the next month, okay? Thank you.